These are the dominant 7th chords with a flat 5, a sharp 11, a 13th, and a flat 9 and a sharp 9. So they're based on the diminished scale or the octatonic scale on the 2, 3, 4, 6 string family, and these are in D. We'll start with a basic D7. And we can raise the top voice from A. So this is D, C, F sharp, and A, top voice to B. So it's a 13th chord. So those sounds move through D, F, A flat, and B. And we can bring the tenor voice, the C to E flat, to give it a 13 flat 9. Sounds like a B triad over D. D, D sharp or E flat, F sharp, and B. So those sorts of sounds. So and then resolving to G very easily, or just hammering those. Resolving to G minor. Okay, going back to this 13, we can always raise the top voice from B to C and raise the middle voice, the F sharp, to A flat, so we get the familiar A flat over D, D, E flat, A flat, and C. Now we can arrive at that also from this chord. So this is a D7. We can raise the bass to an E flat. We have a full diminished, which is E flat, C, F sharp, and A, and now raise the top voice to B. So the top voice is the diminished scale. We can hear that now. We can also switch voices from E flat, C, F sharp, and B, switch over to a diminished major 7, E, D, F sharp, and A, like a D over E flat. So and that's another sequence that can happen based on this D again. I'm bringing the top up. We have the triads within the area. We can get all 4 of them. If we raise the bass note, we have an F triad, E flat, E flat, C, F, and A. Now, diminished major 7, D over E flat, so F over E flat, D, F sharp, and A over E flat, and then we swap to a D bass. We have D, we have a B over D, D sharp, F sharp, and B, and then E flat, A flat, and C. So then we have a B over D and an A flat over D. And that whole process can be repeated down. And then resolving to a G in that case, or an E flat minor. B flat minor is fine, either of the cycles. The resolutions are, in this case, D flat. So D flat, B flat, G, and then of course E, you know, that sort of a, so that cycle again. So moving ahead from D, we'll start again at the D7. This time we'll move our way backwards a bit. And we'll go down this way, which is D, C, E flat, and F sharp. So sort of a D7 flat 9. Raise the top voice, and it's an A flat over D. D, C, E flat, and A flat. Move the top voice again. Again, an A in the soprano, which is a D7 flat 9, and a D13 flat 9. D, C, E flat, and B. And of course that's either of those, all of those are movable by minor third. We can hear the resolution is logical there. Now moving from the E flat, moving in the other direction. And if we can access this chord, we had that for an E flat minor major 9 before. But all of those notes are in the diminished scale, E flat, D, F, and G flat. So we're going to move the middle voice to D to C, then to B, and then to A. what we have is a D, C, this within the middle. Then the top voice can move to A flat. Resolve to E flat in E minor. So again, and of course that can move by minor third if we wanted to. And this comes from a D over E flat. So that again would be this ending point. I'll start it from E flat. E flat, A, F, and A flat. The A flat moving to F sharp and fully off. So just hammering from this D over E flat and hammering onto the F and A flat from D and F sharp. Resolving to in E there. And that's a common one. Moving ahead then to some other types of voicings on this. From last time we saw the sharp 9 sound, which was F sharp, F, and D and C. Moving down to minor thirds to E flat, D, B, and A, to C, B, A flat, and G flat, and then in this case resolving to a G, G major. So this is a D7 with a sharp 9. Now we can move the F to E flat to give us a flat 9. So we have and resolve to a G chord in that case. So that's a movable diminished 7th type sound in that tonality. Also, taking a standard D7, moving D, E flat, F sharp, and A, moving the middle voice, the F sharp, to A flat. So that's common as well. So D, E flat, G sharp, and A, moving the G sharp to F sharp. So that's a common one. Also, that can come off of this chord, the A flat over D. Just convert. Also, the top can move to B. Resolve the B flat minor in that case. So you sort of have you end up with this A flat triad over D to a proper A flat major as well, and those all resolve obviously to G or B flat, in that case G flat minor, major 9. To move to some other types of voicings on this, the minor 7ths as well. So we have 4 of those. We have D, F, A flat, and B. So here's an A flat minor 7, E flat, C flat or B, F sharp, and A flat. Moving to a D minor 7, D, C, F, and A, moving down like that. And I can go all the way down to minor thirds, A flat minor 7, D minor 7, F minor 7 to B, D to A flat, and then just resolve to G. Also, F minor 7, this is E flat, C, F, and A flat, going to a B minor 7, D, B, F sharp, and A, and of course that moves down to F minor 7 to B, and then just resolving to B flat in that case. So the minor 7th chords are good within the diminished scale as well. Some of the larger stretches can be brought down in this manner. For instance, this big minor major 9 can kind of collapse into a D 13 flat 9, which is a D, B, D sharp, and F sharp, and of course that bass note can move from a root like that. So D, so that moves to C, and then moves to B, and then resolves to E major. major in that case. So we have that sort of a sound. Okay, the minor sevens work in minor thirds. This is an A flat minor 7, B minor 7, D, and F. So you can hear that, or you can break it apart. So they can be broken apart like that for effect. So the minor sevens are very useful in that case. And in general, any of the Ds, any of the D7 chords, basic D7 inversions can be altered. Of course, the root brought up, and that's a diminished chord. And then from there, just looking for places where the diminished scale can come into play. For instance, from the last time we had this sort of diminished major 7, E flat, D, F sharp, and A. Now if we bring the F sharp to G sharp, we have this D, E flat, G sharp, and A. The G sharp moving to F sharp to F and then back. So, and then resolve to E minor in that case. So that's another way. Again. So any of those resolve again to G, B flat, D flat, and E. And that gives you a basic overview of the potential of the diminished scale in this chord family. So again, this is the dominant 7 with the flat 5, sharp 11, the 13th, and the flat 9 and sharp 9, voicings based on the diminished or the octatonic scale on the 2, 3, 4, 6 string family.